Okay, hi and welcome to another video on the 2010 car PC project. This is a touchscreen from a 2008 Range Rover. I bought it off eBay. This unit comes complete with the bracket to put it into the car, because obviously this is a different size unit to the BMW one. The BMW one has a tape device on the back, a cassette tape, where this one doesn't. My plan here is to remove this screen here and replace it with a PC touchscreen, while still maintaining. I'm going to be creating some type of interface to the computer over USB, serial and USB, to interface these buttons and switches and LEDs that are here and here into the car PC project. First things first, I'm going to remove the big black bracket with these 4 screws by the looks of it, and then we'll continue. Okay, I've removed the big plastic bracket. This will be going in the car to house this new screen in. Next, I'm going to try and actually remove this plastic fascia so I don't damage it. There's 4 screws, 2 on that side and 2 on that side. So I'm going to try, and then there's a few clips by the looks of it. There, and again on the bottom. So I'm going to try and remove that next. Okay, so I've just removed the 4 screws and released the 4 tabs, and it's come away really easily. We can flip that over. And the first thing we'll do is I'm going to take these wires out. There's one there and one here, which I've just removed. And just remove this one. There we go. And that's now the front bezel removed. This is what we're left with here. Now, in order for this, for the screen to fit back in here, these 4 holes in here that we originally removed the screws from here, we need to put back, because this on its own in here will just float about. So I need to transfer some of this metalwork back into here by removing this TFT out of the metalwork, so I can put the new TFT in. Okay, next I'm going to remove these 2 arms here with these 3 screws on each side. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2 and 3. And then try and get this back off here, this back, with these few screws down each side. Okay, so I've removed the 2 wings. If you're following this video to dismantle the screen, be really careful with these screws that are here and here, and then the same on the other side. They are I found that they are very, very tight, and if you force them, you will strip the head, as I did on one of them, and had to use some pliers to get it out. So just take your time, apply some even pressure, but do it very, very slowly to undo these ones, because they seem to strip really easy and they're very, very tight to get out. Okay, next thing, before I remove the front of the screen and this cage, I need to remove these 3 here and these 2 either side of this fibre adapter. This is the fibre optic connection to the MOST network, which is basically the replacement of iBus. This cannot be used in the BMW era vehicles. It runs on a fibre optic lead, which loops the whole car and links this with every other component of the infotainment system in one big loop, and that's why in cars that have issues with the entertainment system of the later cars, and if it's not working or not working correctly, 9 times out of 10 the reason will be is because one of the units on the most network connected to this is down. Basically, in here there is a light. The easiest way to describe it is a light. Down the fibre, which is basically glass, the fibre optic, it sends the light pulse and then to the next unit in the loop. If that unit is down, it can't repeat the loop, the light to the next component, and that's why the most network suffers issues, only because if one unit goes down, the network can't be in a complete loop, and it causes everything else to mess up. So next thing, I'm going to remove this cover panel, and then hopefully this will just lift off once I've undone these screws either side. Okay, I've just removed the screws from down each side, down that side, and down that side, and then I've also removed some screws from the bottom, from there and there, and now I'll also remove that, which is just left that hanging there, which is fine, and now this just lifts off. No pulling required. I've got to say this unit is extremely well built and designed. It's very, very easy to take apart so far. Now all we're left with is the actual touchscreen panel and its control board. So what I'm thinking, I think for people that are following this project and thinking of doing it themselves, from what I can see of the inside of this so far, I think we're going to be quite lucky, I think, because this frame that runs all the way on the outside here, this metal frame that's fastened to the chassis here, I think we're going to be able to reuse that to hold the screen in place inside the bezel, because by the looks of it, I don't think it's actually attached to the screen, so we can reuse this metal border frame to hold the new touchscreen, which will replace this screen here, to the chassis. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to remove this old control board, which I'm not required at this minute in time. By looking at the board, there seems to be a couple of screws here and here and here, and a few on this side. If you're planning on reassembling this or keeping parts for if you buy a later version, or you want to sell parts of this on eBay that you're not going to use, you need to be really, really careful with this board. These are fibre optics here. If they're basically a glass strand inside this shielding, and this is the fibre optic transmitter and receiver. So if you're going to plan on reselling any of these parts for people that have got faulty screens, I know these panels are quite expensive on eBay, but also these control boards are very hard to come by for obvious reasons, because people don't normally dismantle them. So if you plan on just be careful when you're removing stuff. Like if you're removing this ribbon cable, which is the screen, make sure you flip up. Don't just yank it out. Flip up the clip, which will release this. This is very much like any computer screen or laptop type connection. I think it's an LDVS connection, if I'm not mistaken. But same thing everywhere. All over. Just be really careful with it if you're planning on selling it off. There is a couple of control boards inside there somewhere. I don't know if you can see, I'll just put the light on. There you go, you can see inside. Now there are a couple of control boards inside there as well. So you can see better down there. There's more boards inside here, which I've got to remove. So yeah, just take your time. I'm just going to take my time. What I'm going to do is I'll remove this top main board, and then I'll continue the video. Releasing this clip, just so you don't damage this cable. If you lift the little metal thing up there, it feels like it won't go anymore, but if you actually just push it, give it a little bit of pressure, it releases it and that just slides out. That's what I was saying about it, just slide, no need to rip it or pull. Just put a little bit of pressure on this metal clasp and it will release this extra bit of the socket, and it just slides out. Okay, I've removed all the screws all the way around. I've just gently removed these from here for now, that one and the other side there, the button, the cables that connect the buttons to the main board, and this just literally lifts off. How easy is that? As I say, this seems to be really well constructed, very easy to take apart so far. The next step I'm going to remove these 4 screws, 2 on that side, 2 on that side, and 1 on the top. That's 5 screws, sorry, 5 screws. And those 5 screws will release this frame from the rest of the chassis and will give me access to the actual screen control board, which is underneath there. So I'll remove those. I'll remove this top of the chassis, and then I'll continue the video. And I've also just released this metal tape. Try not to damage this tape too much because it's very, very useful tape for when we put this frame back together. I can now just lift this frame off the screen, and this is the frame that we're going to use to hold or to clamp hopefully the new screen back in position. So just put that somewhere safe. Again, try not to damage the tape that's around the edges. I've just peeled it back gently because we need that to rejoin back to this. So this is now the screen. There's the display connector. It's going under this little metal flap, so I need to just work out how to get that out. But it all seems quite easy. I can't release this chassis just yet. I just need to work out why, and I'll be back with you in a second. I've worked out how to get this off. Once you've undone all the screws, you've released that tape, you've removed the frame. If you just gently, just put your fingers underneath the chassis, the top of the frame, and just gently, really gently, just push gently on the blue connector to push the board down. And what happens is it releases. And the reason it won't come off with all the screws are missing is it's got a sticky pad here, which is attached to that piece of metal there. So it just, once you've released it, it just pops off. Okay, and now this is the first time I've seen it. I've just took it off. This is the back of the screen. Couple more little clips there. There's the what looks like. Sorry, this one here wasn't the display one. This is the touchscreen connection, and the one at the back, that is the display one. That is the screen cable. So this is the screen control board, and I'm not entirely. Oh, that's the inverter power. That's the power to the screen.